Pretty cool way to look at Super Bowl futures. How about picking just the division, not the team that wins it all, the division that is represented by the Super Bowl champ. So AFC West, obviously with the Chiefs, and then some other options at 3-1. They are your favorites, if you will. Look at the NFC East, right? All those teams got to the playoffs with a division champ last year, under 500. You can have any of them at 16-1. So a lot of options on there. We've seen some teams go worse to first in a league that prides itself on parity. Welcome in the Daily Wager Studios, Joe Fortenbaugh, Tyler Fulghum, and I am Doug Kazarian. Tyler, I want to start with you because you have your eyes on a few teams in one division.
Yeah, you know I'm a Rams fan. The NFC West is probably going to be popular, but the AFC North to me might be the deepest or contend with the NFC West as deepest division in the NFL. The Ravens are, we know, a legit Super Bowl contender. They need to get over that hump in the postseason, but they've invested a lot to try and help Lamar Jackson take those next steps throwing the football. Defensively, they're always going to have their identity, and I just think they're a team that can seriously threaten the Bills and the Chiefs and the AFC. And the Browns are everyone's darling from the offseason. All the investments they've made, the great running game that will translate to the postseason. They almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs last year, although that was without Patrick Mahomes. But they upgraded big time on the defense with the bodies they brought in via the draft and free agency. Then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, again, I know Ben Roethlisberger is near the end of his career, but Mike Tomlin's never finished below 500 in his career. This team was 11-0 last year, the last undefeated squad in the NFL. They flamed out, yes, but they're still the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still have some level of credibility. I think there's 2.5, maybe 3 Super Bowl contenders in that division, depending on the quarterbacking you get from Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think the Bengals are a Super Bowl contender, but they're going to be a lot of fun to watch with Joe Burrow in that offense.
Yeah, and the Steelers, by the way, were banged up on defense as the season went on. So as they get healthy back, I think 40-1 is pretty crazy. But, yeah, a division with the Ravens leading the way, maybe they do get over the hump come playoff time. What about you?
The NFC West. A bet like this, I want as many darts to throw at the board as humanly possible, and I think that's the division, along with what you just laid out in the North, gives me that opportunity. Let's start with the Rams and Niners. This is the only division in all of football that has 2 teams in the top 5 when it comes to Super Bowl odds, Rams and Niners. It's the only division in the NFL that has 3 teams in the top 10 when it comes to Super Bowl odds. We're talking now about the Seattle Seahawks, in addition to the Rams and the Niners. You've got 3 coaches who have won the NFC since 2015. Pete Carroll, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan. You have competent quarterback play up and down the board, and you've got teams that can play defense. The Rams were the best defense in the NFL last year. The Niners had a lot of injuries. They'll be back and very solid. Arizona was a little bit better on defense than people give them credit for. And Seattle, during the second half of the season, got much better on that side of the ball. I think when you're looking at a bet like this, you want as many darts to throw as possible. The NFC West gives you that.
That's the team I picked because you actually have 4 teams that could, not likely, could make a run at the Super Bowl.
Cardinals are better.
Yeah, the Cardinals are better. And when you have that kind of wide receiver quarterback combo, you have a chance. And they're obviously trending in the right direction. But what important for me is there's only one team in each conference that gets a bye. So when you have a stacked division like the NFC West or the AFC North, there's going to be some cannibalization in there. But you're only missing out on one spot. And you could catch a break like the Bucs last year had to go play a 7-9 Washington team. So I just like the potential, the ceiling of those top 3 teams in the NFC West, and you even get a flyer with the Cardinals.
And I will say this, that we have 2 divisions that are in each conference. Which conference do you think is more likely to win the Super Bowl this year? Probably an easier path in the NFC, especially since it looks like Aaron Rodgers is not going to quarterback the Green Bay Packers this year. And if he plays somewhere, he probably moves to the AFC. And, of course, you have the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. Now the defending Super Bowl champs, Tom Brady, are in the NFC. But I think there's more top-tier talent in the AFC
I would agree with that.
than the NFC. So maybe you find an easier path with the division on that conference.
Yeah, to that point, look at the New Orleans Saints. Now without Drew Brees, how good are the Saints going to be? Because they've been a perennial contender for a decade and a half.
Yeah, sort of set the bar. They were among the favorites, if not the favorite in that conference. That's not the case anymore. Let's bring in Anita Marks. Anita, it's kind of a fun Super Bowl prop, if you will. Any division stands out to you?
Absolutely. Guys, the Kansas City Chiefs, what are you doing? The AFC West, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about the obvious. With Kansas City, we're talking about a healthy toe and an improved offensive line. They trade for Orlando Brown. They draft Creed Humphrey, and they bring in Joe Thuney. But guys, what if Aaron Rodgers lands with the Denver Broncos? Are you kidding me? These odds aren't going to be this juicy. He comes to a team that has a wide receiving core that you can argue top 5, top 10 in the NFL with Sutton and Judy and Hamlin, Noah Fant as the tight end, top 5 offensive line. They draft Javonte Williams to add to that backfield with Melvin Gordon. And on defense, a healthy Von Miller. I mean, Vic Fangio, one of the best defensive minds in the NFL as the head coach. So I love putting my money on that. And obviously, you're betting on the Kansas City Chiefs with a better improved offensive line coming in and winning a Super Bowl year. But you're also betting on the possibility of Aaron Rodgers going to the Denver Broncos.
And even the Chargers with an improved coaching staff and obviously more weapons and the defense is supposed to be healthier and better. So
is this the year? Is this the year?
I know.
It's another dart, Joe. It's another dart.
That's right.
Now, they might throw it into their foot like they usually do, but it's another dart at least to begin the Super Bowl run. I will say this. There are ways that maybe mathematically it might make more sense to just pick two teams and bet half a unit on each in that division if you don't buy it. But sometimes, like the NFC West, when we want all four teams, it's more fun that way and gives you more darts.
Surprised no one wanted to talk about the AFC East. Got to figure the Patriots are on the rise. The Bills were right there in the AFC Championship last year. Miami, if they can figure it out at QB, should be pretty solid as well.
No NFC East?
Yeah.
16-1? Anybody?
The Cowboys ever figured out how to play defense?
That's true. They do get Dak Prescott back.
That's a huge if.
Huge if.
Like the Chargers staying healthy.
Yeah.
And figuring their things.
We'll wait for it to happen before trying to predict the one time it does.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.